Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm doing something a little different today. I have not done this ever in my YouTube career. Um, wouldn't even call it a career, to be honest. This is just a hobby. But anyways, I'm doing my eyeshadow palette collection. This is going to be part one. I will do a part two as well because I just have a few too many and I don't want to slam them all in one video. So with that said, I'm just going to go through the palettes that I own with you guys, what I like about them, what I don't like about them, and kind of give you guys like a quick review of each palette. So I'm going to start off with my Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. So this one, I don't have many Huda Beauty eyeshadows. It's very far and few between. So this one is basically a very warm toned palette, as you can see here. It's got a lot of orangey and pinky shades, which is really beautiful. I haven't honestly used this too much. I've dipped into it a couple of times. The shadows are nice, they're blendable, they really work well. The glitters are a little bit, like this chunky glitter is a little bit hard to work with, something I would prefer to use like a glitter glue with. But the shimmers are actually really decent, and the shimmers do work really well and nicely together. Here, I'll give you guys a swatch. This one was like one of my favorites. I don't know if you can see that. My lighting is pretty... You see that? Then this one was a little bit more on the harsher side, so I don't really use this one too much because it's more of a chunky glitter, and this is more of like a glitter topper type of deal. You need a glitter glue with that one. So I don't use that as much, but the mattes in here are fantastic. Oh, that scared me. My freaking wire fell off my bed and it looked like a snake. I almost had a heart attack. Anyways, Blood Moon, which is a gorgeous bronzy shade, is really pretty. So as you can see, they are pretty nice. The mattes are matte, they blend well. The shimmers are pretty nice. The one glittery, this is the only one I have trouble with, and to be honest, I wish they didn't include it in the palette, just because I don't really use it all that much. I need a glitter glue for it, which I do not have. So, you know, it's not really used all that much. Let me just see here. If you hear any yelling, it's probably my mother. Okay, so I have to say, for the price of this is like an $80 palette, close to, and I honestly don't find that this should be an $80 palette. I don't agree with the price. It's a mediocre palette to me. I feel like the shadows were not wowing for me to be like, oh my god, this is worth $80. Honestly, Huda Beauty, your shadows are not all that fantastic and high end, so I feel like she needs to kind of bring it down a notch, just because these are average, you know, Too Faced, Anastasia shadow types. So it's a nice color scheme, but for the price tag, I would say a little too expensive for me. Since I purchased this palette, I haven't purchased a large palette of hers again, because I found that the price point for this size palette was just too much. So I only own one of these large palettes from her. Sticking with the Huda Beauty line, I have one travel size palette from her, and this is a recent purchase. This is her Nude Medium, which is a travel size squared palette, which is beautiful. I love all of these shades. They are fantastic. They are probably something that I can just put in my bag and just use over and over again without even thinking. They're very buttery and very creamy, and there's not chunky glitter in this, so it's easy to work with. You can come up with daytime and nighttime looks with this, and it's just easy to put in your travel case. I don't know if I'm going to bring this to Mexico with me or not yet. I haven't decided. I'm filming this before I leave on vacation, so I kind of will see what I decide to bring. But this is probably one of my favorite travel pieces that I own, especially for like weekend getaways, because I feel like this is all I need in one palette, for me in particular. So the Nude Medium by Huda Beauty is pretty good. These range for about $34, which is a little bit more in my price range, and I don't mind spending that amount on her shadows because that's what they are, that's what I think they are worth, is around the $30 mark. So this is a great option for traveling purposes. Sticking with, let's stick with traveling because I have a little small ones here. I have the Lorac Pro To Go. This one is an oldie but a goodie. I have really used and abused this. It comes with a black, a cafe latte shade to put in your crease, chai to put all over the lid, and even a gray shade to kind of deepen out the crease a bit. And then it's got shell and pearl as highlights. There's a matte and a shimmery pearl shade as well. That's on the one side. On the other side, you have a bronzer, a blush, and a highlight. Bronzer and two blushes. You have a matte blush and a coral blush. So that's really great to travel with as well. I actually am debating on bringing this with me to vacation. So I will see what I decide because I feel like this would be great on an. The problem is though is that the issue with this palette is that these are really basic colors and you could only do maybe a few looks with these at most. So basically you would be repeating your eye look on a daily basis. I don't know if I want to repeat the same eye look every night, so I don't know. We'll see. I haven't decided yet on what I want to do for my vacation, but this is another good travel kit if you're looking for a kit. I don't know if Lorac still carries this, but I feel like that they could potentially still carry this, and I feel like it's a great kit to carry when you're on the road because it has everything you need for basic looks, is basically what I'm trying to say. Sticking with Lorac, because I have a couple of her medium-esque palettes. Here's another travel one that I really like. The Lorac Pro Matte. This one, you've got a little bit more shadow differences. You've got a black, you've got a burnt red, you've got a peach, you've got a white, you've got some neutrals, and you've got some browns. Lovely. This is something I would definitely travel with. I have traveled with in the past, and I will continue to travel with in the future. It's everything you need in a little tiny compact palette. I've never traveled with these shadows on a plane per se. I've only traveled with them like on road trips. So I haven't decided yet if I'm going to bring these on a plane. Sorry, I thought that this was a peachy shade because that's what it looked like. It's actually pink mauve, which is more of a dusty pink shade. The lighting in my room is kind of throwing it off for me, so I didn't realize that. But yes, that's a mauvey, a light dusty pink shade, not a peach. But I do like this palette. I love how it's all mattes, and I can just like add in a shimmer if I choose to. So I do like this, and I have used. You can tell I've used and abused it based on, you know, how messy it really is. Keeping with the Lorac brand, here's the Lorac Gold Unzipped palette. I know this is not gold, this is just the unzipped palette. So this is more of the rose gold version. I have used and abused this like no other, you guys. I've used this on my nieces. I've used this on me many times. It's more of a rose gold themed palette, and I feel like these I have used and abused and continue to use and abuse. I love these shades. You can't go wrong with rose gold, especially if you are an olive undertone. And I feel like you can do many different looks with these because you have your light, you have your transition, you have your darks, and you have your shimmers. So this is a great one, which I would consider traveling with as well. Here is the Lorac Gold Unzipped palette, which is one that I have dipped into now and then. I will show you guys. This is what the gold one looks like. I haven't abused this as much as the rose gold one, but I do love the gold one as well. They're really creamy and buttery. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if I can show you. They're really creamy, buttery. They're very pigmented. They're not, they're very easy to blend. That's one thing that I have to give Lorac, is that they're very easy to blend. And their transitional shades are very pigmented as well. So I cannot complain with this. I really can't. I don't do gold eyes as often, but I really should start. I'm actually considering bringing this with me on holiday. We will see. Now that I'm going through all of my palettes, I'm really looking at what I have, and I honestly have forgotten some of the stuff that I've owned. So this is a great way for me to transition and look at, things that I'm actually really looking forward to using. So gold unzipped is beautiful, and then I have the Lorac unzipped Desert Sunset, which is a little more risque. It's got pops of pink and purple, and it's got transitional shades like orange and brown and dark brown and gold and like highlighting shimmer. Again, these are the same type of formulation, so you're gonna find that they're very pigmented. Definitely not lacking in that. Here's the goldy bronze shade. And then let's do the purple. The purple is really pretty. Honestly, I really do love this. Have used this many times, and I feel like you can do a beautiful look with this day and night. Another one to consider for holiday. I will see. May have to make a decision at some point. Hold on, you guys. I need to get some wipes because my hands are... Great. Sorry, I need to get this off my arm before I make a disaster all over the place. I don't know why it suddenly went really dark. So strange. So anyways, moving on. The next palette I own is discontinued, but if you do have it, pull it out of your collection. I don't know if the lighting is off. I don't know, you guys. Can you see me? There we go. This is the Kat Von D Ladybird palette. It comes in the tin case, and that's what it looks like. It's got all matte shadows. Here, let's flip this upside down. It's got all matte shadows. God, the lighting in here is awful, you guys. Just awful. So it's got all kinds of matte shades, from your burnt oranges to your turquoise to your purple. You can do any type of look with this. I really do like this in the fall time. This is more of a fall palette for me. And I like the casing because the casing is very protective, and it won't break. Ladybird palette is discontinued, but if you do have it in your collection, keep it in mind for fall time. Here I have the Stila Eyes Are the Window shadow palette in the shade Mind, which is a very good dupe for the Ladybird palette. The Ladybird palette, I find, is pretty much same shades as your Shadow of the Mind palette by Stila. Exact same, shades. They're definitely, you still got your orange, you still got your purple, you still got your navy blue. I feel like this one, though, you get a few more extra shadows opposed to this one, so it's all depending on your preference. Whether you want more shadow options or you want less shadow options is totally up to you, but they're both good. This one you get a nice big mirror. I like them both. They do the job. Can't really complain. You guys, let me just see if I can stop this. Okay. I'm back to regular lighting. I don't know what the hell happened, but I had to change my filming just to get the lighting back to normal. Okay, so Anastasia Master Palette by Mario. This is another good one that I do use and abuse quite a lot. This is more, a lot of people say it's more fall, but I like to use this all year round. I've been really using it recently, more so around the holiday season and into the winter time. I was thinking of bringing this with me on holiday, but I don't think I will because the shadows in this palette are very, very, very soft. I feel like if I brought this on a plane, it would shatter. So I'm going to actually leave this one at home. But they're so creamy, they're so buttery, they're very blendable. Any type of nude look, you can get away with this. I feel like Brown Eyes was made for this palette because, or this palette was made for brown eyes, because I feel like brown eyes really do complement the colors in here, and I find that working with this on my eyes, just any look I've done has really been eye-popping. So if you do have the Master Palette by Mario, definitely pull it back out. I know this was limited edition, but I have a few palettes that have been limited edition only because I happen to prefer limited edition stuff. I know that sucks, I'm sorry, but what can I say? Another limited edition palette from Anastasia I have is the Riviera palette. This one was in my 2019 favorites. It was the one and only palette I purchased throughout the entire year of 2019. The Huda Beauty Nude palette I actually picked up beginning of 2020, so it didn't really make that cut, but this one definitely was the only palette, which made me go more out of my comfort zone, because look at the beautiful colors. Definitely is a pop of color, definitely makes you get out of your comfort zone, and it's beautiful for holiday. This is a good one I could consider to bring with me on holiday. I just feel really, I don't know, afraid that this will break during travel. So my fear is that, you know, you spent this money, and what is it that you're willing to potentially have break during travel that you know you could replace? So I don't necessarily think I would bring a limited edition palette with me knowing I wouldn't be able to replace it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Beautiful colors, spring and summer-esque, definitely great for when you go on vacation. But for me, I will save this until the spring and summertime. But I do love the colors. They're gorgeous, and they work really well. I'm going to stick with the Anastasia train here and talk about 3 more palettes from her. This is an old palette, and again, it is more of the older palettes of hers, the Maya Mia palette. I think this will be the famous one that I bring with me on holiday, only because even though it is limited edition, it's got some colors in here I can use that are more popping for holiday. And I remember this was one of her first palettes she came out that had a lot of color in it, more color than she ever came out with when it came to neutral palettes. So like the pop of blue, the pink, the yellow. I remember this was one of her first ones that she came out with that had a lot of color in it, and I was so excited. I still use it from time to time. Sienna's in here, caramel, warm taupe. Glisten is a beautiful color. Fresh peach and aqua are awesome. The nude color in here is a matte, so you can use it as a base, which is great. And then you have a dark, deep brown for an eyeliner if you need it, which is a bonus. Love this. This is one of my ultimate old school Anastasia palettes that I do love and hold on to. So another 2 Anastasia palettes. Here we go. Modern Renaissance. If you don't know what Modern Renaissance looks like, you guys are living under a shoe. Literally. This is more of a reddish pink, burgundy undertones, but still neutral, still look beautiful. Love them all. This is great all year round. I can pull these off all year round. No joke. Warm taupe makes another appearance. That used to be in the Maya Mia palette. That still is in the Maya Mia palette. I don't know if Sienna is in here. No. There's a few more new shades that are in here. And there's just a couple that, you know, reappear. So the Modern Renaissance, and then here's the Soft Glam. The Soft Glam I picked up maybe 2 years ago. And these are similar to the Renaissance, only a little less red. More of a neutral. We have Sienna makes another appearance in Soft Glam. There's Rustic, which I don't think is in this one. There is Cypress Umber, which is also in this one as well. There's Dusty Rose, Orange Soda. I don't know if I have another orange soda somewhere. I can't remember. I think I did give away a few of my Anastasia palettes that were more limited edition, like the Catwalk palette. I did give those away because I wasn't using them as often. But yeah, no, so these are the Soft Glam and Renaissance. I gravitate towards these more so because they're neutral and warm tones, and my skin tone really gravitates towards those type of shades. So these are really great quality. I cannot complain about these at all. They have great pigmentation, great blendability. The shimmers are amazing. When you amplify them with a Fix Plus spray, they look even better. I can't complain. They are worth the money. So I do love these. The packaging is a little bit kind of like annoying just because of the velvet. But other than that, I really do enjoy both of these as well. Okay, we have another Stila palette here. This is in the No palette, and this is an old school palette as well. Again, more warmer tones. You have a couple of cool shades here. I used and abused this palette a long time, and I kept it to a neutral look all the time. Once in a while I'd use the orange shadow, but most of the time I would go in here because that's where most of my dips are. The Stila shadows are really nice. I really do enjoy them. I really do like the blendability, and I do like their, what's the word I'm looking for? The pigmentation is nice as well. I find that when you're dealing with nude shades, it's a little bit more easier to work with because nudes kind of just blend into everything. But like, look at that orange. Just beautiful. Really, really pretty. I think those are the only two Stila palettes that I have, is in the Mind one, and then in the No Stila palette. Those are the only two I own, and they're all matte shadows, which I cannot complain because you can't go wrong with mattes. So if you guys can still find this, I don't even know if they still carry it, but it is a great one because it's an all matte shadow palette, and I did gift these to my nieces a few years back because it was one of my go-to palettes. Okay, so I have two Naked Basics palettes, Naked Basics 1 and Naked Basics 2. I absolutely love these things. They are the best, beyond best, to travel with. Mine are so beat up, you guys. Like, I cannot even describe to you how beat up mine are, especially my Naked 1 Basics palette. Hold on. Yeah, mine are really beat up. So here's the Naked 1, and it's more warmer tones. The Naked 2 is a more cooler toned, shadow theme, I guess you could say. They're both great. I carry both with me when I travel. I carried these with me when I went to Mexico last year, and I may do it again because I feel like as long as you have the basics, you can really amp up any look, and then just add a shimmery color in the middle and you're good to go. So I think what I might do is I might take one of these with me and use that as my transitional shades, just to kind of keep it light and airy. These are great. They fit in the palm of your hand, so definitely very good for travel. I am looking to purchase the Naked Basics Heat, I think it is. It is basically the same size as these little guys, but it's the Heat version with the orange shades in it. That I would love, because then I can pretty much bring that with me anywhere I go, and I'm set. So these are great for traveling and for just popping in your purse if you are on the go and you have to touch up. These are great to have. Definitely a staple in my collection because I always go back to those. Now here is something that I absolutely love, and since I picked it up two years ago, maybe 3, the Too Faced Just Peachy palette. Oh my god, this is like my favorite ultimate matte palette. Anything peach. I had a phase with anything peach. I cannot describe to you. I had peach everything. Peach face mist, peach primer. I have peach foundation, peach powder, peach this, peach that, peach lip gloss. It was everything peach. This is my favorite matte palette of all time. Smells like peaches, but the pigmentation is fantastic. Here, let me see if I can swatch a couple for you. So the pigmentation is just right up the alley. They are just fantastic shades, okay? And they're matte. So, like, can you, like, hello? Hello. They blend well. They have good blendability. The brightness is there. They stay all day. As long as you have a primer underneath, you're good to go. And that's with any shadow. That's with any shadow. I really do love this palette. It is probably by far one of my favorite palettes of all time, and it's compact enough that you can travel with it and not be too bulky. You know what I mean? So this is definitely on the top of my list. Now I have 3 Tarte palettes I want to show you. These are more of the, along the lines of the Tartelette. These are the Tartelette line palette. So the first one is the original Tartelette palette, and I have made some serious dents into this one around the pinkish, nudish shades and the, what is this here? The gray. I just love this palette. This is a great all-round matte palette. Very, I want to say cool, warmish tones because of the purple, but it's just a great palette all around. All mattes, don't have to worry about shimmers, especially with a more mature eye. Then I have the Tartelette in Bloom palette, which is another one that I have really loved and used. Here is what the In Bloom palette looks like. Another neutral pinkish spring palette. Very pretty on the eyes, very neutral. Definitely, you know, These palettes have the blendability that is very good for, personally for me, I find. And then the Toasted Charlotte palette is basically warm tones, you know, surprise, surprise. And these are all, you know, same quality, very blendable, very pigmented, very long wearing as long as you're wearing an eye primer. The shimmer in this and in this one is very workable, and you can amplify it with a setting spray if you wish. Love these. They are another great option if you're looking for something more compact. You can definitely travel with these if you need to. They fit in the palm of your hand. I cannot live without my Tartelette palettes. It's one of those things that I gravitate back towards all the time as well. Between Tartelette Just Peachy and the Anastasia ones, I would say they're probably my top bigger, like medium-sized palettes out of all the ones that I own. So that was my part 1 of my palettes. These are more of my small travel size to, I would say, medium-sized palettes. And I am going to stop the video here, and we will reconvene in part 2, and I'll show you guys my larger palettes then. So thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for my part 2 palette collection. Bye, everyone.